everyone. Welcome back to the Ask Dr. Be Good podcast. Today, we're going to talk about some really interesting STEM-related goings-on at Legacy to try to show another example of all the very positive things that are going on in public education. So before I forget, because I'm notoriously bad at that, let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. I want you to tell who you are, what grade level you're from, and what pathway that you've taken. Okay?
Well, I'm Elijah Eichholt, and I am a 12th grader at the Legacy in Plano, and I finished my IT pathway my junior year.
Fantastic.
I'm Scott Townsend. I'm the STEM director.
Thank you.
I'm Bert Walker. I'm the IT teacher.
And
The dual credit, so I'm also considered an adjunct professor for El Centro.
that's right. We're very proud of that about that, having you.
And my name is Alan Sanchez, and I am an 11th grader, and I'm taking the IT course.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here. With our traffic out there, you know, the fact that you made it on time is always a plus. So one of the things we want to do is talk about technology, because technology is a big part of not only our world at Legacy, but it's our world outside of our school doors and inside our cars and inside our homes now and in our offices. So let's talk a little bit about how we're preparing you for that technological world, for literally, in many cases, jobs that haven't been created yet. So how are we doing that at Legacy? So Scott, you want to talk a little bit about our T-STEM program and the requirements of it and how that plays out at Legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So T-STEM is our Texas STEM initiative. So Texas Education Agency has different designations for some of the more college-prepared formats. There's early college and high school, and T-STEM is just one of those designations. So with that comes some artifacts we have to put online, including examples of student work. We have to put our tutoring schedule, our assessment calendar, and so that Texas Education Agency has some oversight of what we do to ensure that we're doing the right thing for students. And there are some other aspects that are more student-oriented. We provide work-based learning experience, so try to get students as integrated in the workforce while they're in high school as possible. We also provide college classes. We do some even as young as
8th grade,
early high school. So I think your statement is you want the students to be prepared for college in 9th grade or something along those lines. And
preparing our elementary students for 9th grade college. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that goes right along with us, and so it fits really quite nicely. So it's not just a check the box, do some paperwork, have it look good for the community. It's more than that, and it does have some aspects that are good for students. It allows for good high school that'll transition to college, career, military preparation.
Last week's show was based on dual credit, and we actually had a couple of students who started college in 9th grade. They started with the overview courses, and so they're very fortunate to be able to do that. Of course, one of the T-STEM requirements that you haven't mentioned is the dual credit amount. What do they have to graduate? The cohort last year has to graduate with how many?
Oh, it's almost an associate's degree. So, I mean, you're looking at, roughly 50 hours is where we're shooting towards. And that's quite doable when you spread that over 4 years. And that's going to be a great thing for kids.
Especially if you start it in 9th grade.
And I believe our district pays for the college credit, so that's a huge selling point.
It is, and we even pay for the books.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't quite understand why we still have a few seats left in Plano, because if parents knew that Legacy is paying for their child's college and the books, that we might have some more knocking on our door.
Sure.
So we need to, I think, somehow get that word out. Maybe parents hear that and they don't believe it, because it still can fall within the what? You're doing what?
Right.
So the unbelievable range. But anyway, all right. Well, so we are a STEM designated campus. We have to apply for it every year. We have to put in for it every year for both campuses. And I'm very proud of the fact that we got it from year one where I've heard of other schools who've applied 2 or 3 years and they've, maybe get it on the second or third. We got it from year one that we applied and have gotten it every year for both campuses. And so that speaks to the work that is happening in the campuses, because it's just not writing it, it's doing it. So thank you for that. So Mr. Walker, first of all, let me mention that your name's come up a few times in the last few podcasts because of the impact that your dual credit has had on kids. So please know that we're very proud of you and the work that you're doing, and that kids have really spoken highly of the work and the projects. You, whenever we asked for favorite projects, your name came up, your projects came up. So thank you for that. So can you talk a little bit about the different IT courses that you teach, and how, well, do that first, and then we'll talk about how they're impacting kids.
I'll teach 4 courses this year. One course is kind of digital media, which goes over things like podcasts and video, and like one of the next projects, matter of fact, Adon is in that class, but one of the next projects we'll be doing this upcoming 6 weeks is a thing that we did last year called the putting in videos for the Tech Titans STEM. They have a video contest trying to get kids motivated into going into STEM from elementary. So it's targeted towards elementary kids, getting them into STEM careers. And part of the contest, they give you 2 subjects to go over. And then the kids can decide which subject they want to do, create a video on that subject, basically kind of recruiting, encouraging kids to get into STEM careers and what they can do in those careers and why they should be in those careers and what that career can have an effect on the real world.
I once had a parent say that their child said they wanted to become a lawyer, and so they didn't think that our school would be good for their child. And I had to say that in today's world, even if you didn't want to do health science, which is our other pathway, to have an IT background before you go into any type of other career, I think is very solid. So I don't remember if they ended up staying, but right now they're encouraging us to teach coding in kindergarten.
Yes.
As part of the literacy block. Okay, that's I'm reading research now that says that we should, and that this will be happening within the 5-10 years. It'll be a normal part of the literacy block, but teaching pre-KKs coding as part of their literacy circle. What do you think about that?
I think anytime you can get the younger kids involved with it, because they're just little sponges. They absorb so much. And my youngest kid, she's 8 years old, and she's hardly any time without some sort of electronic device around her or with her. And so they just absorb all that information. And like with the coding and stuff, a lot of them are doing what's called like block coding, so that kids can just go in and kind of drag and drop certain blocks, and with that make little games and little key things to function. And they just learn coding so much quicker than adults or older kids do.
Right, they're learning it like we learn to read.
Yes.
So it's not a big deal. It's not this other thing, this other that. It's just part of what they have to do to move that Lego or whatever they're, that robot that they have. So we are getting better at bringing that to our lower grades.
And they don't have the stigma of, oh, this is going to be hard. They just think it's fun. They just know they're having fun with it. It's not something they have preconceived in their head yet.
They think they're playing with toys.
Yes.
And that's a perfectly okay way of teaching coding, So you've talked about some of your courses. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more.
There's also the Principles of IT, which is kind of the usually 9th grade level. That's kind of the basic Word applications, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, things like that, little databases, and talks a little bit about hardware, software. Then it gets into the next year is networking, which, where they go in and like create network cables and talk about all the different hardware and things that go into, so they don't just automatically think, okay, when I play this game, how does it connect from one place to another? They can actually make those connections in their head. And even for kids, I tell them, even if you don't plan on getting into this as a career, just knowing that any time in your future life, hey, my network is down, just the fundamentals of how to fix that is going to help them no matter what they're doing. And then the next course they go into is web design, which they actually learn HTML and CSS and different code to actually create websites. and go into the design of not just doing the code, but what actually looks, contrasting colors and things like that, to actually look at the design behind what draws people's eye on a website and things like that for kind of the marketing aspect of it. And then, of course, the last class is in the digital media. And then the seniors in that CTE pathway go into what's the capstone class. That's where you was talking about where kind of integrate in with careers and going on into their careers.
So, in your partnership with the college that you're an adjunct for, how is that helping with the dual credit piece?
The biggest thing is just reminding the kids all the time that even if they're taking the class, but even if they're not signed up for the dual credit, all of this is geared towards, college level stuff. So that some of them, they might not take it in ninth grade year because they think, I can't do this. And then when they realize it, then they wish they had, because like, okay, well, I'm just doing the same type of stuff that everybody else is doing in the class. So why not join it as college credit? And it is work that they can do and can accomplish, because again, that preconceived notion in their head of college, oh, it's going to be harder than I can do. And
Yeah.
sometimes getting past that roadblock.
So you're making me think that we need to do something in middle school to sort of get them not to think that way by the time they hit ninth grade. That's on us to prepare them better to think like college students by ninth grade.
I think that's kind of worldwide with STEM in general. That's one of the things that trying to get the initiative to get females and things into STEM,
Yeah.
because a lot of them gear towards, maybe they'll gear more towards the health sciences and things like that, even with just the technology, engineering, math. They hear those and they have that preconceived notion of, oh, this is going to be difficult, when it's just taking it like anything else, learning it in steps, and you can pretty much take care of anything that way.
And we were going to have a female student here this time, although we've had her on before because she's a very successful student. She has 52 hours, I think, of dual credit, but she wasn't able to make it today. But you do have females that you're encouraging.
Majority of my kids, that's one of the things I've noticed.
Wow.
About half the class is usually, it's not just a male dominated thing, about half and half. And like we just started our robotics club Wednesday, and we had more girls show up for the first meeting than the guys.
That's good to know.
And so that's always, and about half of those are middle school level kids too.
That's even better. Yeah. So I know you have competitions in store for you.
That's one of the things we're going into like where we could actually go to a competition and they'll tell us, okay, using this box of parts, create something that will go and accomplish this one task, kind of a thing. And so the kids have to go in and design the robot and then program it to say, move this direction, move that direction, pick up this object, put it here, that kind of thing.
You know, as you were talking, I thought if you did that to a bunch of adults, they would have that mindset of, this
Yes.
is hard, I can't do it.
Yes.
But with kids, not so much. Super. Scott, when are the robotics contests?
We got a few. We've got one that's coming up fairly soon for a almost like a warm-up round, I guess. It's going to be in October. But the big one that Mr. Walker was referring to is going to kick off end of November, December, and it goes into January. There's different regions and different competitions, and you just basically keep going until you lose. It's not too different than like a sporting event where there's regional competitions, and if you keep winning, you keep going.
So is that how we're enticing kids to the robotics club? By saying that there's a competition or two ahead of them?
Right now we're just, we just put out the flyers last week and we're just getting them in. Now at this point, it's okay, kids, these are the ones who showed up. Now tell your friends.
Yeah.
Get them to come in too, because the more we have, the more we can do.
Sure. All right. Well, so we thank you again for all that you do, and the kids are bragging for you. You don't have to do that. They've been very complimentary. All right, Adan, talk to us a little bit about your IT experiences so far.
It's been great. I like it. He teaches us how to do like certain things that I didn't even know how to do.
Like what?
Like one thing that I did not know how to do at first was how to make a website, but with coding it. And he taught us how to like do it from step by step by step. He teaches us well how to do one by one. And I remember we had a project that we had to do, and it was to create a website. But the website that we were creating, it was not just one page. We had to make multiple pages in that website, and that's what it was pretty fun. It was complicated, but it was fun.
So, am I remembering correctly that that website had to be about you? Was that a
No,
self-
I
no?
think it was about anything that we wanted, but at the same time, we had to put subjects in it. That's
Okay,
pretty
so what was yours about?
don't remember actually.
It was so complicated that
Yeah.
the content you don't remember, just how to do it. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you going to do with this IT knowledge that you're getting?
I hope it does help me later on in the future to get a good, like, go inside a good college and all that. And hopefully it does.
Well, and so I'm going to say it will, because anytime you get this type of foundation, the key is to build on it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But you sort of already told us that you're learning things that you didn't know
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't know, and that you didn't know you had needed to know, right?
Yeah.
So, have you taken any dual credit?
No, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm hopefully starting this year.
Okay, good, because we want you to graduate with some college hours.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, anytime kids graduate with college hours from high school, it increases the chance that they go to college and stay in college.
Yes.
So, you know, anything we can do to support that, we want to do that. And remember, who pays for it?
Yeah.
That's right. So, please know that we look forward to making sure that you graduate with college hours.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
Elijah. So, Elijah is an interesting scholar. He joined us our very first year.
Yep.
He had been homeschooled.
Yes.
And you joined us in 6th grade when we were starting our little charter in Richardson in a small church.
Yeah, I remember that.
I do too. And unfortunately, the pastor died in that church right before we got there. That, you know, it had been his vision for us to be there, and the pastor died. And so we were not the vision of the assistant pastor. And so within a couple of years, we knew that we needed to find a bigger place. And so by the start of our 3rd year, we moved into what used to be the Haverty's building 4 miles up the road in Plano. And so you followed us, even though you live in Garland.
Yeah.
You followed us there. So talk a little bit about your IT pathway experience. And you went through it fast because you finished already.
Where do I start? I remember in 8th grade, I got an opportunity to take some classes, high school classes, and one of them was starting my IT pathway early. And I remember I took Principles of IT in 8th grade and then learned about Excel and Word and all the programs. Just kind of it was like a basic introduction, and that was really interesting. That was like the spark of my interest in IT and stuff like that. And then when I hit, I believe, network and telecom networking, and I remember we were making Ethernet cables. We were learning to make Ethernet cables, and me and one of my peers, Ryan, we would have literally races on who could build the Ethernet cable the fastest and it work. And I think we got down to like in 1 minute building Ethernet cable on both ends. We got really pretty good at it. It's crazy.
So that's when you know school's working. and now when you were in 8th grade, the law had not changed, and so we, as a specialty of legacy, we had bumped down the principles of both health science and IT into 8th grade to give you guys high school credit. A couple of years later, or maybe a year later, the legislators changed that and gave us the opportunity to become early college high schools without having to go for the designation. And so then we went, we can't offer it down in 8th grade anymore. We got to bump it up to 9th grade so that we can let them have college credit. And so you were ahead of the game on that one. You just missed it, but you got extra high school
Yeah,
credit
the really
for it.
cool thing, I was able to start math early too. That was pretty cool.
How many kids say that? Pretty cool to start math early.
Right.
So that's fantastic. And so you are considering a very interesting post-secondary, I'll call it career, but training opportunity. Can you talk a little bit about what you're considering?
I am considering to be a electrician. I want to go to a trade school called the IEC Dallas. I believe it's in Irving, and it's an apprenticeship. So you work for 4 years or equivalent of 8,000 hours to get your certification, and one night a week you go to the actual school. And once you do that, you get your journeyman license, and that's awesome because you're able to get the on-the-job experience through your apprenticeship. But you also, since you're getting paid, they take money out of your paycheck to pay for your tuition. So there's not a huge debt or, a lot of money to put up front. So it's the awesome part.
It's a win-win.
I think it's like $270 for books in the beginning. So that's, that's really nice to not have to upfront thousands of dollars or something like that for tuition.
And then after you finish your 4-year journeyman certificate, then what do you want to do?
I am hoping to go to film school. I don't know exactly which film school. It would depend at that time on what I feel. I'd love to be a director, but in reality, with the journeyman license I have, a really good career would be a gaffer or a grip or somewhere in like the lighting or electrical part of film. So.
And what? And I'm sort of leading the witness because I know, but what caused you to get want a film career?
That's actually a really good question. So I took digital media last year, and obviously, like we were just talking about before, it's about podcast, video, audio, and kind of stuff like that. It's like make a commercial or video off of your iPhone or something. Well, I had a medium quality camera, and me and a couple students all got together and made a video, just not really thinking much about it. And our teacher, Mr. Munoz, was like, "This is really good. Y'all should do something like an actual movie or short film." And I kind of thought about that for a little bit. And I was like, "Yeah, probably should." So our next project was to make another film, except this time be like really good. So I remember I started looking online. I was like, I don't know where to start on this stuff, directing, and how do you shoot stuff, something that big, it's 10 minutes long and keep continuity and stuff like that all going. And I discovered this YouTube channel called Film Riot. And they literally go from all the Hollywood techniques to how to direct, how to shoot your camera, all the settings on your camera, cinematography, everything. And I just remember watching tons of videos about that. I got super hyped for it, and it was just like, this is so fun. I think I might want to do this. So at the end of that film, I had spent, I think, about 300 hours of editing on that video for about 10 minutes, and countless of hours directing or thinking about writing a script and stuff. And we had 2 showings at the school once it finished, and it was a student showing and a staff showing after school. That's what sparked my interest.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
What was
that's
your movie
awesome.
about?
It was about a kid that was kidnapped because he finds out that his brother had a kind of a background that he didn't know about, and the people wanted revenge on his brother. So he had to face all the consequences that his brother had caused. And the title of the movie was Face It.
Okay.
So yeah.
And can you talk a little bit about what your parents think about all this?
They like that I'm able to take advantage of my opportunities and actually like look at my future and see what I want to do, and then, like I said, take the opportunities I have. So when I'm at that age of being able to get a job or go to college or a trade school, whatever, that I can actually do it. I'm not sitting there like, I don't know what I want to do.
No, you very definitely
Yeah,
know what you
so
want to do.
like that, I'm taking that opportunity and learning as much as I can now. So.
Well, and you, in chatting with you previously, you mentioned that you're already helping your brother do electrical work.
Yeah, my brother owns a company, and I've kind of been his IT electrician guy for the last few years. So, being able to do that, you don't know how to do something, you just look it up on YouTube, read online from forums, and you kind of gain more knowledge on that area. If it's setting up telephones or a network or routers or extending Wi-Fi with access points or whatever it is, you just don't know what's going to
I
come.
think what we have here is a 21st century Renaissance man, right? He's using all the tools at his disposal and making something work for him. Wow, we're proud of you, Elijah. So Adan, Can you talk a little bit about some projects that you've done? And they don't necessarily have to be in Mr. Walker's class, but you're doing IT work and
Yes, ma'am.
other STEM related, which
Mhm.
is real math and science and engineering and so forth. So talk about some of your projects that maybe impacted you.
I gotta think about that one. There's a lot that I liked and that helped me. Cause one of them was, like he said, the Ethernet cables that they did. I never knew how to do that. I didn't even know how they worked until Mr. Walker taught us how to do them, how to fix them, how they work and all that. That's one thing that I liked. And I gotta think about this. There's so many projects that I've done. I know we did one. We did the web design. I remember we started at first as a Google. Like Google has their own to make their own websites. That's how we first started. That's how we first learned how to make a website. But then after that, like I said, Mr. Walker teached us how to program it, how to type in old codes, and he told us that there's other ways to fix up your website and to make it look nice. And it was pretty interesting. I like how we did that. And
What do your parents think about all this?
they laugh at me because
Why?
one, when I talk about them to them, they're confused because they don't know what I'm talking about, and I find it interesting. And like sometimes when the Wi-Fi box goes down or stuff like that, my mom doesn't know what to do, so I'm the one that always fixes the stuff at the house.
Okay, so I wouldn't know what to do if the Wi-Fi went down. Okay, so don't make fun of your mother, because then you'll be making fun of me. But see, this is what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is school happening,
Yes.
and you're able to carry that into the home,
Mm-hmm.
and you're bringing your parents very tangible examples of things that are happening in school that not only is impacting home life in some way, whether it's
Yes.
helping with the Wi-Fi box, but helping you think about what to do with your life. So many times over the last 30 some odd years that I've been supervising schools, I will ask kids your age, what do you want to do? Where do you want? No clue. No clue. And we can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those days of having kids just wander about after they graduate, no. For a couple reasons. One is because it's not the right thing to do. School
Yes.
did not do its job if we sort of release you to the world without a clue of what to do. But number two is that the state of Texas now requires us to track you after you graduate for the first 2 years after you graduate. So we have to know what you're doing. And we get in trouble if kids don't land in either college, post-secondary something, the military, trade school, something that will further your opportunity to be higher tax-paying citizens.
So technically, let's say if someone doesn't go to college, would that affect you?
College isn't the only option.
Mm-hmm.
What the state of Texas wants for its graduating students is for them to be able to go on to a post-secondary something.
No.
Military is fine, trade school is fine, college is fine, as long as the student continues to add worth to him or herself
No.
so that you can get a stronger career and make a better living wage and pay more taxes. There's a method to their madness, but really the state of Texas is looking out for its young people.
Yes.
And one of the things that we'll talk about with, we hope to have Representative Leach on in the next week or two, and he was part of that change. He was part of being able to change graduation requirements from not being able to offer dual credit in ninth grade to being able to offer dual credit. And so being able to share with him your stories will make him feel really good, first of all, but it will bring the reason why that law was passed alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll give an example. I've given it before, but the valedictorian from last year graduated with 52 hours, and she was, and remember, so she was even a year behind you in being able to start college,
Yeah.
and she still managed to eke out 52 hours. Imagine if she had started in ninth grade. Whew. But she went through the health science and got medical Billing Coding.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it right, but she got a full ride at Purdue because she wants to be a medical researcher, but she is now working part-time with her medical coding certificate that she got with us while she's going and getting her medical degree at Purdue. That's what the state of Texas is wanting for its young people, to arm you in high school so that when you continue after high school, you're able to have a better idea what you want to do, have more career choices and better foundation, etc. So, and again, you guys are reflecting that. We didn't put these words into your mouth. You told us. You helped me understand how much what our plan is working for you. So we just need to make sure that all kids sound like you, not just two of you. Right, Mr. Walker? You're working on that, right?
Definitely.
So, Mr. Walker, we just have a few more minutes. Can you talk a little bit about how you feel that today's teaching is different than I know that you haven't been teaching a whole lot of years, but you went to school. You have kids who went to school. So is today's teaching a little bit different than it was 10, 15 years ago?
It's definitely, at least for my class, I try to gear them towards thinking of how things are going to be when you're in college and things like that. And like when I was in school, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I got into college and what I wanted to major in or anything like that. And so now kids are going in with college hours, and I got my associate's degree at Eastfield and then went into the university and things like that. Just the fact that kids are now getting a jump 4 years on their life, being able, if they can go in and get an associate's degree or just get a jump on the associate's degree, take years off of their college that they're already taken care of before they even get in there. And
yeah, I feel like, and I've got two adults I'm giving you permission to correct me if I'm wrong, but school is more serious business now.
oh yes,
High school is much more serious. None of this, I don't know what I want to be. Oh no, that you don't get to go to college to figure it out. You have to figure it out now.
They give us options what to do.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Especially if there's college hours at stake. We're literally saving parents thousands of dollars.
Oh, that's true.
very much.
I mean, just books alone.
Yes.
So, and Scott, again, you've got kids that have been going to school, and how do you see school different? Do you see school different today as it was?
Yeah, I totally do. I think so much of the world becoming flat. I know it was a book, but I think that it's still 25,000 miles in circumference at the equator, but the Earth just seems smaller.
Oh yeah.
And our students are competing with students from around the world for so many jobs. They tried to outsource the drive-through at McDonald's into Colorado Springs. So you'd pull up any McDonald's and they tried to outsource, hello, how may I take your order, to one call center. And there were some problems with that on the back end. But that shows the connection of things like radiology being read in another country, so you don't have to worry about time zones and you don't have to worry about the different salary issues. And so with that in mind, absolutely, I think people are encouraging to work some college younger, and my kids went to a school that did advanced placement. And so, my oldest is an engineering guy. He's an engineer now in college, and English is not his forte at all. And so he worked every single day with his AP English teacher to pass AP English 4, so he wouldn't have to take it in college. And that was, let's go to ice cream. It wasn't AP Physics. That was an easy one. But English was hard. And he just didn't want to have to do that in college. And so that saved him a lot of money and a lot of effort. But the reality of being 17 and kind of, out there in the wind of what we're going to do, those days are gone. However, we also have an awareness of how many times people change their career in their lifetime. And so as much as we say, I'm going to be a this or a that or whatever, there's that you can actually change at any moment now and do something totally different. That, in my generation that was starting, but my parents' generation, that wasn't it. You'd pick one job, one company, and you'd retire from it. And now that's ridiculous. And I think we see that even with our teachers. The younger teachers have some of them come in and they've had 3 or 4 careers before they become teaching. And so, that I think is encouraging, that people allowing you to the world is allowing you to kind of pick your path at a young age and then be able to change it later.
Yeah, you make a good point. I think I read somewhere that within the lifetime of a millennial, they would change their job 14 times.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible to us?
Yes. I
Because
mean,
I've changed my job, but it's been within the same umbrella of education.
yeah.
Yeah, but not real estate or pharmacy or totally different. Yeah.
Well, I did that once. I started out as an engineering assistant for an oil and gas company, and all my relatives were teachers, and I wasn't going to be a teacher. Oh, no.
Right.
Okay, so that's another story for another time. But,
That's the way I got into it, because I was 15 years in IT, and that's one of the things I try to tell the kids all the time is that, you know, just whatever you want to do now might not be what you want to do later.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is education gives you the options. Like, I would not have been able to get into teaching if I hadn't had bachelor's degree and things like that. So I trained to get my teacher certifications and things like that to get into teaching. And I'm like you, everybody in my family was a teacher. I was the only one who wasn't. But just the education just gives you more options to do and to jump around into things.
and I'm sorry, but the IT piece is good for any job. I
Right.
mean,
Yes.
you're going to have IT issues in the home, at the workplace, whatever workplace it is. And, you know, for you to be the go-to guy, hey, that's not so bad.
I think too, you know, some of the things we do at Legacy with project. Have you guys had projects where you've had to stand in front of
Oh yeah,
people and present?
of
I mean,
course.
it's all the time, right?
That's like the definition of legacy.
I think that's supremely important, because there are some people who struggle with that, and that's going to carry through from just about any
Yeah.
career choice.
So, Scott, you're right. You bring to mind the soft skills that we actually grade them on the soft skills.
Yeah.
Okay, collaboration, communication, work ethic,
Oral communication.
oral and written communication. That's right. I thank you for
agency.
that. Agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, self-efficacy, effort. So we do that because and that's how New Tech was born. We're part of the New Tech program. New Tech was born with the executives from the Silicon Valley going to the educators in Napa Valley saying, you're not educating kids we can use. They may know content, but they don't have all those soft skills that we mentioned, and we can't use them. So that's when the New Tech Network was born, and that's why we do what we do, and you guys are proof of the of how well that works. So I'm sure good things are ahead for both of you. We already know good things are ahead for you, Mr. Walker. It's sort of nice to be an adjunct and sort of be able to add that to your portfolio. Good for you. All right, well, we've come to an end. Another fast show, made fast because of the good conversation today. So thank you, everyone. We wish you the best, and keep when you graduate, keep in touch, because
Yeah.
we need to know what you're doing. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.